Welcome, everyone. Before we get started, we have a message from our Spanish language interpreter staff. Murtado, please go ahead.
Thank you so much and welcome everyone. I'm going to make an announcement in Spanish, and this is welcoming participants that speak Spanish, that want to hear the interpretation of this wonderful presentation in their own language. So I'm going to bear with me while I'll make that announcement in Spanish. Muy buenas tardes y bienvenidos y bienvenidas a este importante evento. Vamos a ofrecer servicios de interpretación. La pregunta es cómo ingresan al canal de interpretación y es bien sencillo. Van a donde están los 3 puntos, donde dice más, ahí les aparece un globito terráqueo de interpretación, hacen clic en ese globo como de un mundo, ponen español terminado para que se les active esa función. Ya Felipe ha comenzado a interpretar toda esta sesión. Should there be any questions in Spanish, they will be invited to be placed in the chat. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if that happens, we will provide translation in the chat. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Murtado. Welcome to the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities Self-Advocate Discussion Series. I am Chris Hendricks, Policy Education Coordinator. On behalf of the Council, thank you so much for being here. This discussion series is a place for North Carolina self-advocates to gather and engage with each other to talk about things that affect our lives as people experiencing life with IDD and other disabilities. We want this time together to be used to get to know each other and to get to know the Council, where I and other individuals with IDD are leaders, colleagues, and valued for our input because we are who we are. People with disabilities should always be valued like that, and this discussion series will demonstrate why and how. First, maintain community and lessen distractions. Let's use the direct chat for side conversation. Don't put lengthy resource information in the chat to everyone. We'll be sending out a resource email later where all of the resource information will be included. So send direct chats to myself or my colleague Melissa Schwartz if your resource info is longer than an email address or a website address. So remember, as part of that post-session resources email, it'll include the guest speaker's contact information, the resources and opportunities discussed today, and the PowerPoint slides, as well as a modified chat from the Zoom. Now we get to move on to one of my favorite parts of our self-advocate discussion series, the jokes of the day. Let's ease into our topic, shall we? Why did the ballot go to therapy? Any guesses? Take your time. Well, it had too many unresolved issues, of course. Ba-dum-tsh. Next, why did the voting booth make a great musician? This one's near and dear to my heart. Because it always let people rock the vote. Oh, we can't help ourselves. Now that we've eased into our topic, let's talk about it. It's time to talk about voting and your voting rights. In the disability and voter turnout in the 2022 elections, supplemental analysis of census voter turnout data by Lisa Scher, Douglas Cruz, and Mason Amiri, it was noted that if people with disabilities voted the same as people without disabilities, there would be 1.75 million more votes. Updated in 2024, that data remained the same. This slide shows a picture of the National Disability Rights Network's live data counter collected on Saturday, June 13th at 2 p.m. It shows information from and about voters with disabilities. There's a 4.7 point participation gap among voters with disabilities and the general population. 78% of voters with disabilities would be more likely to back pro-disability rights candidates. More than 60% of voters with disabilities are very concerned about Social Security and Medicare, and 56% of voters with disabilities say our rights are under attack. We believe that voting is a way for us, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD for short, to speak up about what matters in our lives. Voting affects things like accessible transportation, healthcare, education, and community services. Laws like the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Voting Rights Act, and the Help America Vote Act protect our rights to vote privately and independently by requiring accessible polling places and allowing support if we need it. We need to know how to register, ask for help, and use accessible tools. We can register online, by mail, or in person. There are agencies and people who can help us fill out forms if needed. On election day, we can ask for accommodations like large print ballots, curbside voting, or accessible voting machines. We also have the right to bring someone we trust to help, like a family member or a friend, though not a workplace or a union representative. Preparing ahead by knowing registration deadlines, checking polling places for accessibility, and knowing our rights helps make voting less stressful. Even though the next big election is in 2028, it's helpful for us to start preparing now for the 2026 midterm elections, also called midterms. On November 3rd, 2026, all 435 United States House seats, 35 U.S. Senate seats, and many governor races will be decided. Casting our vote in the midterm elections means that we help shape who makes decisions about issues that affect us. Disabilities groups like our own Disability Rights North Carolina and Rev Up NC are already working to help us understand how to register, what will be on our ballots, and why our vote can shape healthcare, transportation, education, housing, and more. By learning now about voting procedures and rights, we set ourselves up to participate with confidence in future elections. With all of that said, it is my pleasure to introduce our voting rights expert, Kenya Meyers. She's going to give everyone a refresher on voting rights and offer updates. This is especially important because midterms elections, again, are coming up November 3rd. With that in mind, let's learn a bit more about Kenya. Kenya Meyers joined Disability Rights North Carolina, or DRNC, in January of 2019. Kenya has dramatically increased funding for voting work and makes sure voters with disabilities can cast a ballot safely, privately, and without impediment. Kenya is the DRNC Voting Program Manager. In addition to her voting work, Meyers has vast experience in identifying abusive lending and housing practices over the past 17 years. She assisted and trained numerous local, state, and national organizations on various civil rights and economic parity topics. Kenya serves as an adjunct instructor at the Patricia Robert Harris National Fair Housing Training Academy and as faculty at the National Community Reinvestment Coalition Training Academy. Welcome, Kenya. Thank you for being with us in the past, and thank you for being with us again today. We're so happy to have you.
How you doing, Chris? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And as Chris said, I'm going to give you some updates on what's going on around voting in North Carolina. I do want to tell you that things are extremely fluid, and actually some things might be changing, but I'm going to bring to you the most updated and accurate information as of today. So the first thing I want to start about is what you've seen is our actual hand card that we share with folks at various events. And our theme for this upcoming voting cycle is Get Plugged In. To voting, to vote, to voting your voice and your power. And so what I'm going to share with you today are the various important things that you need to know and do to be prepared to vote this fall. So the first thing I want to start with in your voting plan, your getting plugged in voting plan, this is your checklist. Are you registered to vote? And we have QR codes throughout this flyer. And then there's another slide where we actually have the websites if you don't use QR codes to get to this information. But we want to make sure, one, that you're first, of course, registered to vote. And then even when you're registered to vote, we want you to check it frequently. Those of us who are registered, we're on the voting registration list or registered voter list for North Carolina. And there are regular reviews of that list. And in the reviews of that list, folks are added and removed. And so we want to make sure during that process that if you are registered, that you remain registered, that a mistake isn't made, and you're subsequently removed. So first, one, just making sure that you're registered, and then checking that frequently. I would say at least once a month. And then as we get closer to election day, maybe check it about every other week. And so we have the QR codes here, and on the next slide, again, the link where you can go and check your registration. Right there, you see it on the right at the top. There's the actual link. You can go there and check to make sure that you are registered. The next thing is to make sure that you have an acceptable ID. I will tell you that the list is quite extensive of the types of IDs that you can have in order to vote. But these, I would say, are the top 4. And they're the most easily to obtain, I believe, and the ones that are identified the easiest. And so that list is a North Carolina driver's license or a North Carolina ID, a U.S. passport or the small pass card, and then a free county voter ID. And so wherever you live in the state, your county board of elections, they can issue you a specific ID for voting, and it's free. All you have to do is to go into your county board of elections and request a free voting ID. They will take your picture on site, and usually within 10 minutes, it's processed and they provide it to you. Again, these are the IDs that are the easiest identifiable. And so I would recommend you getting one of these IDs and making sure that you have it. A little tidbit, if you don't have a North Carolina ID, you've never had a North Carolina ID, it is free to obtain. And so you would go to your Department of Motor Vehicles with the identification documents that are required. And there's an extensive list at the DMV website that can tell you what's acceptable to take. But what I want to highlight is that it's free. The other thing I want to highlight is that disability rights, we help our constituents, which would be you, any person with a disability in North Carolina, to obtain an ID in order to vote. So if you would like a North Carolina ID from the Department of Motor Vehicles and you need a ride, we can get you a ride. If you need any of the underlying documents, like a birth certificate or even a Social Security card, we will pay for the Social Security. We will pay for the birth certificate, and we'll get you a ride to pick it up if you don't want it mailed. We'll get you a ride to the Social Security office so that you can request a Social Security card to get an ID. So I want to share that with you because we are committed to voting and making sure that our constituents have everything they need to vote, which includes the ID that you would need. And so I don't mind stopping right there if there are any questions, or you all can give me a thumbs up if you want me to move on, keep going. said a thumbs up, but I can't see anybody. So Chris, okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Chris, Melissa, is it okay for me to keep going, or are there any questions I need to address?
No questions in the chat at this time, and I see no hands raised, so please continue, Kenya.
Okay, cool. Great. The next thing is if you plan to vote absentee by mail. And so we've listed out the steps. Can you put the other slide up for me, please, if you don't mind? Thank you. Appreciate that. So if you need, it's kind of hard for me to if you plan on voting absentee by mail, here are a couple of things you need to keep in mind. The first is you should request your ballots at least 2 weeks before. And I would say you might want to do it even a little bit earlier than that. Mail is ridiculously slow, and I'm going to presume that it may even get slower by the time we get closer to the election. But most importantly, once you receive it, I would complete it, have your 2 witnesses sign it, include a copy of your ID, and get it back in the mail as quickly as possible. There are several steps, unfortunately, that you have to complete in order to vote by mail. But we at Disability Rights are available to help you walk through those steps, to make sure that you don't miss any steps and that you have everything that you need. And we do have a voting hotline. The number is on the slides, but it's 888-WE-VOTE-2. And if you ever have any questions regarding anything with voting, but let's say you do decide to vote by mail and you want to make sure that you have completed all of the steps prior to sending it in, you should certainly give us a call. We'll walk through it, make sure that you've done everything that you need to do, and help you to make sure that before you drop it in the mail, that all of the parts are completed properly, because there are several steps. So it's requesting the ballot. When you get it, completing the ballot. You do have to include a copy of your ID. And if you don't have ID, there are some other things that you can do, but you would need to have that document in front of you to explain. I would suggest that you have a copy of your ID. And then you are required to have 2 witness signatures. And then, or if you can't get 2 witness signatures, you can have it notarized. You can take it somewhere and have a notary. And then you still have to include your ID and get it back in the mail. So there are several steps. I'm sorry.
This is Melissa. You said you can't see folks. We do have a hand raised that's been up for a while by Pamela McAfee.
Okay, absolutely. Pamela, go ahead.
Hey, Kenya, thanks for everything you do with DRNC and voting. Question, if you don't have a copy of your ID, you alluded to the different forms. Can you still do an affidavit? And could you explain, if you do, what that is?
You can. So if you don't have an ID that you can make a copy of and attach or include with your absentee ballot, there is an affidavit or an exception that's attached to the ballot and or on the envelope of the ballot. And it asks you for your reason for not having an ID. There are several options. And one of the options is I have a disability. I would certainly select that option for 2 reasons. One, it is the one, and this for me is probably the most important. It is the one that is always accepted and the least scrutinized. And so even after casting your ballot, you want to make sure that it counts. And so disability, I can tell you, in my experience over the last several years, has been the option that has been the least challenge. And so I would select disability if you are indeed a person with a disability. But even more so importantly, honestly, I would really try to have an ID and to get a copy or have someone help me obtain a copy of it. But if that's not an option, then yes, certainly it's a box that you would check. It lists options. I would select that I have a disability if that is true.
Hey, Kenya, how much does the free counter voter ID cost?
Yeah. It doesn't cost anything. And I make sure that people know that so many scams out here today, but it doesn't cost anything. And the county can usually get it done for you within 15 minutes.
Thank you, Kenya.
Thank you.
No problem. If we can put the slide back up, please. Thank you, ma'am. And so, Melissa, I'm having a little bit of difficulty seeing it. It's
Chris, can you offer me some help? What is she having trouble?
that's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. And so if you're not going to vote by absentee mail, sending your ballot in and you plan to vote in person, like I do, you have many options. First is to vote early. And early voting this year, at the moment, if nothing changes, it begins on Thursday, October 15th, and it continues through Halloween, October 31st. And then election day is Tuesday, November 3rd. Now, what I can tell you is that election day will not change. Election day will be Tuesday, November 3rd. However, there is discussion right now in our North Carolina General Assembly that may lead to the early voting days changing. But right now, at the moment, they are October 15th through October 31st. And the dates, I'm sorry, not the dates, but the times, they vary by county. And so what I would recommend is to check on your county board of election website, specifically for where you live, and it will list out. They don't have it up now, but they will have it up. I would check by August 1st because they have a deadline to get those completed by the end of July. So by August 1st, your county should have your days and times available for early voting. And then that way you can begin to plan accordingly. And then if you don't want to vote early, you can vote on election day, which will be November 3rd, Tuesday, November 3rd. And there are links here for both early voting and election day. And you can go to these links. I would go to, like I said, early voting after August 1st, but it will list all of the early voting sites, the days and the times. And then on election day or at the election day link, you can go in and based on your address, it will tell you exactly where you are to vote if you wait until election day. All of this information is available online. It will be updated and accurate. I would again start checking around August 1st for the most updated information. But even before or after August 1st, you can always contact us at Disability Rights, and we will respond to you usually within a day. And once we get to election season, our voting hotline goes live. So once early voting starts, you'll be able to call between 9 and 5, and someone will be able to give you voting information in real time. The last thing is to get plugged in. It's a sign-up sheet to stay engaged. And what's going to happen is if you decide to sign up, either by QR code or the link, we will make sure you get our newsletter. We'll make sure you get all of our social media information that you can sign up for and plug into. And so every time we send out anything regarding voting, you will get that information live and in real time. So I encourage you if you want to stay abreast on exactly what's happening regarding voting, to sign up. In addition, as we get a little bit closer to the election season, probably by mid-August, definitely by September, I will start adding information regarding opportunities and how you can volunteer or get a small stipend to help us with our voting work, as there are going to be several opportunities to do that as well. So that information is forthcoming. And if we have, if you're signed up, that information will come straight to you. You won't have to call me to try to find it. And all of that information, it won't all be necessarily be public facing, meaning it may not be on the website. It'll be just for people who are connected and have plugged in to get voting information. So I'll stop again to see if there are any questions.
Kenya, this is Chris. I don't
Yes.
really have a question. I just want to make sure that they heard. I just want to make sure they heard the word stipend for the voting opportunities that could present themselves for our community in the future. Can you expand on that? Just in case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I can share one that's coming up sooner than later. We're actually going to be conducting audits on the early voting sites, all 320 early voting sites, which were used in the primary election in March. Some of them may be changing, but I'm going to start with that list. And we're going to be conducting accessibility tests on those sites. And that's probably going to start at the end of the month, going through July 15th. And I'm going to need some additional folks to help me out. And so if folks that are connected to us, I'll be reaching out to them to see if they're available to go out, because we have to do all 100 counties. So folks who are willing and able to do that, there'll be a small training, a quick training, less than an hour. And as long as you have a cell phone, not a flip phone, it can be Android or an iPhone, but it just can't be a flip phone. And you can access the app. We'll send you out to conduct ability tests at the early voting site, and we're going to pay folks a stipend to do that, to help get that done.
Thank you so much, Kenya.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have any more questions for Kenya? We've got a couple more minutes, and I know some of the people that are here with us today, and I know that whether you've shared the question or not, that you have questions. I'm looking at your names, and I know you, and I know you have questions. Pamela, I knew your hand was going to pop up again, and I'm so excited. What's your question?
I was just gonna ask Kenya about if she could explain, if you are blind or low vision or have print difficulties, the difference that North Carolina provides voters to do the vote by mail, absentee ballot.
Excellent question. So yes, if you are blind or low vision, you actually have the option to submit your absentee ballot online. And I have to say it 3 times just to make sure. It is only for people who are low vision or blind. Everyone else, no one else can use it. And you have to attest to that under penalty of perjury. So it can't be used by any voter. It can only be used by someone who is low vision or blind. We know a lot of other people would benefit from voting online that way. However, for the 3rd time, it's only for folks who are low vision or blind. You do still have to provide your ID, or at least check a box attesting that you don't, that you have an ID. And the same provisions apply, that if you don't have it and you can't upload a copy of it, then you have to attest why not. And so again, I would select that because I have a disability. It's the reason that I can't provide it. But yes, that is an option. And again, it's only for folks who are low vision or blind. You request your ballot, you indicate that you're low vision or blind, you'll get an email, open it up on a secure server, and you would just go through your ballot. It's read by a screen reader, and there's voice options, so it can be read to you, the screen reader, however that is set up, and then you would submit it the same way, electronically.
Thank you so much, Kenya. Now we have Laura Newell with her hand up. Laura, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was going to say what she said about the online voting. I do know somebody who's done that before, who's low vision, and but I was also last time we had an election, we did get several people registered to vote at the day support center where I work, and it was just really neat. Just because my coworker Nikki, she took them to the voting place, and they all did like the voting on. They came to the car and did the voting like on the iPad type thing, so they didn't even have to go in there. They were just able to vote that way. And unfortunately, I've been registered to vote for a long time, so I didn't go with them. But I did take a picture of a few of them later on, just to say these people voted for the first time, and so it was really pretty cool. So, and I always say, if you don't vote, you can't complain. So.
Well said. Well said. Kenya, any final points before we get to our poll? Any last hurrahs, shall we
Actually,
say?
I think I just saw a
Oh,
hand.
I'm
Chris.
sorry. I saw the hand as well. Thank you. Mina.
Thank you, Mina Kajuria.
Mina.
I am curious, what will there be any resources available during early voting or during voting in and of itself if someone feels that their rights are being kind of dismissed? Is there like a phone number that they can call to try and at least report that and then get some kind of direction when that happens?
Absolutely. So the voting hotline, our voting hotline will be live. So I would say start there, 888 we vote too, because it's answered in real time once the election begins. So whenever early voting begins, our line will be live. In addition to that, there is a national hotline, 866 our vote, OURVOTE. And we, Disability Rights, we are a part of that coalition, specifically for the state of North Carolina. And we answer all of the accessibility and disability calls. So either way, whether you call our Disability Rights, our direct voting hotline, or if you call the national voting hotline, you're still going to end up talking to somebody from Disability Rights, because we are assigned for all of those types of calls, disability and accessibility calls. And so, yes, so it's very possible that I will be taking that call, if not one of my colleagues. And we try to deal with those in real time.
Yes.
My suggestion would be for the voter to not leave. You cannot use a phone inside of a poll site. So I would step out or have somebody else step out and make the call, but to let us know. And we are extremely responsive. That's my job. So I'm calling the county board of elections. I'm talking to the chief judge.
Yes.
We are connected to some of the poll monitors that are on the ground. So it could be if there's some monitors outside, you can let them know and they'll call one of the hotlines and it'll still get to us. But if you report it, we are extremely responsive. So I like to tell people, report it and stay if you can. I do recognize that sometimes folks are like maybe on their lunch hour or, they were hoping it could be a quick stop. But if you can stay, because we try to resolve it to make sure that you vote.
Yes. No, that is great. Thank you. I've been a poll observer for something else, for a party that I won't go into.
Mhm.
But I have certainly noticed situations where I felt that someone was not being taken seriously, or honestly, this particular situation I'm thinking of, this person was not able to see. And so they took a transit bus to vote, which is a really big deal. And then it was just, and I knew about disability rights. And she was there to vote. She wanted to vote. Like that's why she came to the polls. And so
Right.
we were able to get her connected, but just, you never know where a situation like that might come up. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was really important information. Melissa, I saw you had your hand up and then dropped it. Are you all set? And if so, then we'll jump over to Pam.
Please move on. Go to Pamela.
Pam, go ahead.
So can I go ahead and give a little bit of a blurb of Rev Up NC, which I kind of am already. So Rev Up NC is a 501c3. It's also part of AAPD, which is the American Association of Persons with Disabilities. And we do a lot of, I hope to work with Kenya with the DRNC stuff, but we're about powering the disability vote. And Kenya, if it's okay, can I bring up some things that ask questions that I know the answer to, so maybe you can shed some light. These are things that I've seen and heard that are happening. So for
Absolutely.
example, awesome, thank you. So you've hit the button or whatever to curbside vote, and you're sitting there waiting. They're going to bring the ballot out to you, and you're being approached by people who want to hand you electioneering materials, like vote for my candidate. Are they allowed to do that, to come to your car if you're voting?
No. And I do believe that there are going to be some more stringent rules that the County Board of Elections are going to be providing this cycle. The curbside voting is an extension of the poll site. So the definitive answer is no, no one should be walking up to you.
Okay, so no electioneering at your car. Thank you. So you're a person with disabilities. You come in and you have somebody with you that you've asked to help, but they want to give you somebody else. They want to assign you somebody there to assist you. Are they allowed to assign you somebody to assist you?
No. Person with a disability has the right to choose who it is that assists them. Yes. I will say that that person will be required to sign in. That was a new law since our last election. Well, actually, it may have been around but someone who comes in to assist, there is a login book, and they do have to sign in that their name and that they're there to assist whomever.
What if your person who is come to assist you, or whether it's you or your person with the assistant has a service dog? Can that service dog enter the polling location?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I have thank you so much. I've worked on voter protection hotlines, and I'm going to tell you that the number of calls that have to do with persons with disabilities having barriers to voting are far outnumber, in my experience, any other problems with voting. So I hand out phone numbers like the voter hotline number. The only way we know this stuff is happening is if you report it. The only way we can help you is if people call and report it. So the work that Kenya does, that the reason I asked about the blind and low vision voting is that something that DRNC was helped get in the laws. So
We filed the lawsuit. We did.
yes. So thank you so much for working for the community, and just everybody know that there's a lot of help out there. Rev Up NC is ours. We're volunteers doing this work as well, and we all tend to work together in the same, because we're all doing the same work. So
This is Melissa. Pamela, since you're speaking, there's a question in the chat that asks Kenya, do you know Judith Brown? And is
Yeah.
Judith affiliated with your Rev Up NC group?
She is. She's one of our small but mighty crew with Rev Up NC. And Kenya, I think you've met Judith. If you haven't,
I
you need
actually just met her at our conference in person. We have been on several email threads together, but I met her in person at our conference this past May.
Yeah, Judith is amazing. She's in Mecklenburg County. I'm in Davidson County, and Crystal Robinson is also part of our group, and she's there in Union County. So if anyone wants to get involved with what we're doing with Rev Up NC and hopefully connecting in with DRNC's work as well, I put our email address in there. I'm not trying to scam some volunteers, but if we're talking about voting and I could get some, then hey, why not?
Yeah, Judith Brown is great. She's been to one of our self-advocate meetings, and we've did an event with her like a couple of years ago. So yeah, she's she really is helpful in knowing all this voting information.
Thank you so much, Kenya. Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you so much, Laura. I anticipated, Pam, that you and Laura would both be pretty active participants, and I was excited to hear you and see you today. Let's take a moment to go to our poll. This is our attendee opinion poll. You'll be asked a couple questions, and this helps our self-advocate discussion series, basically the council, know that we're doing a good job or not. So your opinion matters. And I'm going to read out the questions for you as we take the time to answer them. The first question is, I am a self-advocate, parent, family member, or neither. The second question is, I live in an urban area / big city, or a rural area / a small town. The third question is, I think the self-advocate discussion series is either good, bad, or I don't know. Number 4 is, I learn from the self-advocate discussion series, always, sometimes, or never. And number 5, I use the Spanish language interpretation feature. I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds. Perfect. Thank you all for taking the time to answer our poll. These answers are going to be really, really helpful for our data and really helpful guiding us in the direction that you want us to go as a council. So we really appreciate you taking the time. Next, we're going to have an opportunity for our participants and our listeners to share. So we've got 3 questions that we'd like to share with you. I'm going to read them out, and if you're here with us today as an audience member, I'd like you to consider answering. I'd like you to consider coming off camera if you are willing, so that we can see your lovely face. And you can raise your hand as you're able. You can also use the Zoom hand. Raise your Zoom hand and we will call on you. If you're not comfortable sharing in that capacity, you can share in the chat. So I'm going to read those questions for you now. Number 1, what was one important thing you heard here today? Number 2, will you share a story related to something our speaker talked about? And number 3, how will you use or share what Kenya offered today? Please take your time and answer the questions that you feel comfortable answering. And once again, if you are able to turn your camera on, just for this portion, it would be awesome. We've just got a couple minutes, but this is our favorite part of the discussion series because it's all about you. We want to hear from you. Cindy, welcome.
On the mic. Cindy?
So I like where they were talking about including the blindness and accessibility. A lot of places where we poll and vote, there's not a lot of chances to do that. And I would love to express that we do more of the accessibility polling stations for more people that are like blind or who are in a wheelchair or have any disability besides the low vision or blindness.
Cindy, thank you so much for that share. Thank you. Laura, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I would just probably tell people that, there's several different ways to vote. So, if they don't feel comfortable going inside to vote, they can do it from the car. Of course, and if they don't have a car, then get somebody to, if your friend's driving you over there, you can vote from their car. But and just to know that there are services to people to assist you in learning about your voting rights if you are new to voting. And so yeah, I think it would be nice if they had more online options for people who don't drive other than just the low vision. But, I've always been able to make it to the polling place. And if you ask, usually you can find a friend or a family member or staff or somebody to make sure you get to your polling place because it's important.
Laura, thank you for that share. It's almost like you're writing a book about the rights of persons with disabilities or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Travis, your hand is up. Go ahead.
The most important thing I heard today was our vote counts. If, like she said, if we were to vote in the election, that we could change things for ourselves.
Absolutely. Well said. And it's a really important thing to re-emphasize. Thank you, Travis. Cindy, I see your hands up.
Emily, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Emily.
Emily, hello.
Hi.
Good to see you again. Go ahead.
Yes.
What did you want to say, Em?
Vote.
Yeah.
Huh? You were gonna tell me. Thank you.
Em says vote. Absolutely. Well said.
Yes.
Well said.
He wanted to say thank you as well.
Well said. And of course, we're so happy to have you here. Pamela, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes, vote. Thank you. Travis, with what you said, I just wanted to say something about, yes, every vote counts. Our vote counts the same as everyone else's. That is the one great equalizer that we all have, whether you have a disability or you don't have a disability, whether you have a college education, whether you have no job or the best paying job, we all have the same vote and our vote does count. And I wanted to bring up something that happened in the primaries, which was when you decide who goes on to be your candidate for the different parties when we have the election in November. But during the primaries in North Carolina this year, one of the people who's running to keep his office on election night lost by 2 votes. 2 votes. When all was said and done, when they were able to find some other votes that could count, that added to the total, but he still lost by under 30 votes. So every single vote counts, and you have the right to vote, and you have the right to get somebody to choose the person who you want, that you trust, to help you vote. So, and I hope that you know that there's a lot of really good resources out there. The resource that I would use the most that Kenya gave us is the voter lookup tool. It's a website, and that is the best website when you want to vote. Can I say it's the best website when you want to vote in North Carolina? Because not only does it show you if you're registered or not, when you click on your name, it will show you who the different people on the ballots are. It'll even give you a sample ballot when the sample ballots are printed. It will show you where you vote if you vote on election day. It'll give you the times for early voting. It even gives you a picture of the front door of the place you go vote on election day. So that resource to check to register to vote is the best. Did I already say that? Yes, I did, and I can't say it enough. It's the best tool out there. So if you can get your hands on that website, please keep it and share it with your friends. Also share the voter protection hotline number, or try to keep that on a card or something with you. So if you run into any problems, there might be problems. That's why you have people like Kenya answering the phone to help you out.
Pam, thank you so much for re-emphasizing those things, and I'm almost certain that we have at least one of those 2 resources, but just in case, for re-emphasis, if you could put the voter lookup tool resource in the chat, that would be helpful. That would actually be very helpful for me, so I'm being a little selfish there. And speaking of resources, there is some great resources on this PowerPoint, and if we're missing any, I'm sure Pamela will email me or put some in the chat. But what are your rights as a voter in NC with IDD? Check out Disability Rights North Carolina. Of course, check out Rev Up North Carolina that Pam was kind enough to share about earlier. And then, of course, the National Disability Rights Network. Are you registered to vote? Check on the NC State Board of Elections. Where to register to vote? Also the NC State Board of Elections. What do I need to know about my voter ID in North Carolina? Disability Rights North Carolina web link. That's a direct web link there. And then a more specific link towards the bottom. Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. Easy Read Self-Advocate's Guide to Voting. And there's a web link there. Next slide, please. This is a shot of the National Disability Rights Network, Voters with Disabilities Activated. I don't know about y'all, but I am feeling, especially towards the end of our session today, I'm feeling extra pumped and motivated. In this month's information, we offer connections to some of your most important voting resources. And I think we've gone over most of this. Because our exceptional guest speaker is part of the National Disability Rights Network, please check out their Voters with Disabilities Activated Power at the Polls webpage. Next, some opportunities with the Council. Don't forget about the monthly The Council Presents webinar. The June 24th topic is plain language, and the July 25th topic is the ADA. And of course, don't forget about the next self-advocate discussion series. Our next self-advocate discussion series is going to be on July 15th when we celebrate the Americans with Disabilities Act. Also, August 19th, we have Assistive Technology, and September 16th, we've got National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Pamela also wants to remind us in the chat, don't forget that you can get a free voter ID from your county board of elections. I sort of went through the resources a bit fast, but I think it was because my energy was lifted by all of your shares and your reminders that our vote counts. That was really exciting. It just goes to show you, the vote is indeed the great equalizer. And I think this might be the first time in history, but I think I can give you 5 minutes of your day back to you. It's been such a joy. It's such a pleasure to share the room with you, everyone. Thank you so much to Kenya Meyers, who is a returning guest for us. Melissa, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that while you're giving thanks. I agree with Chris. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Pamela McAfee, I want to thank you for putting that resource in the chat. It is one of the resources included on our resources slide. And so the only thing I can do is remind attendees and folks that you do receive a copy of all of these resources in the post-session email that Chris sends out religiously after each session. Chris, thank you for letting me interrupt, and thank you all for being at this discussion series and sharing your voice.
Absolutely. I want to also thank our Spanish interpreters, our ASL interpreters. Thank you to everyone who worked behind the scenes to make this magic happen every month. And of course, especially thanks to you, our advocates and self-advocates who are willing to attend these meetings each month. And I do want to add one additional thing. Some of you may have received this, but as an additional notice, we are going to begin, or we have begun, sending reminder emails. So in addition to the resource email that you will receive, we're going to be sending out reminder emails to our advocates and self-advocates between self-advocate discussion series sessions, because you being here matters. We love seeing those numbers go up. We love seeing your faces, and we love hearing your voice. So I just want to make an ask as we wrap up today. If you are a self-advocate or an advocate who is connected to another self-advocate, please let them know about our monthly self-advocate discussion series that happens every third Wednesday of every month, where we go over topics decided by self-advocates for self-advocates on behalf of self-advocates. So if there's a self-advocate in your life that's not here, get them here. We want to hear them. We want to see them. We want to learn from them. We want to grow with them. We want to build community with them. With that said, thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope to see you next month, where we're going to talk about the Americans with Disabilities, where we're going to celebrate the ADA. See you then. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.